reality is the world needs you to accomplish your purpose, because that's when the world becomes better. My comedy will impact a part of the world, and my purpose will impact a part of the world, and your purpose will impact a part of the world. My goal is to get people to believe that about themselves, because everybody has it.
Put your hands together for Trenton Davis! I think too young to like Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what the hell are you wearing? She's like, I woke up like this.
And once you start chasing it, it's infectious. People want to be around people that are chasing a dream because it's inspiring. And if I do that, I'll die at whatever age, and there's a ton of people, and the one consistent thing is he inspired me to be better, and it was a good life. That's a good life, you know? Hey, what's up, good people? Trenton Davis, Father's Day podcast, episode 4. I think we on 4. I'm super excited today. I get to interview one of my best friends, almost like a brother to me, like a mentor. His name is Lonzo. Lonzo and I met back in Chicago in 2003. I moved to Chicago. I was dating a girl, and we went to the same church, and immediately we clicked. We started playing basketball together. I found out he was a member of Phi Beta Sigma, which is the third, I don't even know, second best fraternity in the world. Good dude, all around great dude, one of the best fathers I know. I still reach out to him often because he's a father of 3 girls, so I reach out to him often to just get advice. Zoe has an interesting life and a very interesting perspective, very wise perspective, and so I just wanted to interview him. He's also was there when I started doing comedy back in 2003. He used to ride with me all the way from, if anybody knows Chicago, all the way from Schaumburg to Orland Park just to do open mics, man. Zoe's probably been to over 100 shows, super supportive, one of the best guys I know. So without further ado, help me introduce Lonzo. Yay! All right. So what's up, man? How you doing?
Thank you. Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, man. So you in Chicago right now?
I am.
What's the weather like out there?
Good weather today. Well, it's about 45 degrees today. So it's a good day today. Other than that, you know how Chicago weather is. It could be 45 one day and -10 the next.
Hey, see, that's what I'm talking about. Social conditioning. When 45 is a good day, you need to get out, man. You free now, man. Leave Chicago. We're gonna do we're gonna have a petition to get everybody out of Chicago in the winter months. But yeah, man. So look, let's jump right into it. Zoe,
Okay.
give us your stats real quick. Kids, working. Tell us everything that's going on right quick.
Well, as you mentioned, I have 3 girls and also have 1 boy.
Yep.
Ages range from 23, 21, 15, and 13. Live in northwest suburbs of Chicago, so not directly in Chicago, but a little bit outside of Chicago. I work as I work in the field of IT.
Yep.
I am a IT manager, or actually I'm a IT director. Excuse me.
Yep.
And I have 5 guys up underneath me, and we cover all of the U.S., Canada, and parts of London and Hong Kong and Beijing. So I got a pretty wide territory of things going on at work. Been doing IT stuff, man, probably for about, I want to say at least 16, 17 years. Something I've always wanted to do. So I love what I do, and it's allowed me to, at this point, be able to have some good flexibility as far as being able to work, being able to leave work early, work from home, and attend to my kids' needs.
Nice,
So
man.
It's good for me. It's been good for me.
That's good, man. So let me ask you though. So you said you were talking about flexibility and being able to come home. So one of the other things is right now because of different circumstances. We'll see if Zoe gets into it. But Alonzo is a single father right now. How is it being a single father? Obviously, most of the time we when we hear single parent, we think mother. How is it for you being a single father? And then how is it specifically being a single father of daughters?
Well, it is. It's new to me.
Yeah.
So let me just back up for a moment. As you know, I was married for 21 years, and my wife passed away back in December of 2016, and that's when my entire life changed drastically as far as going from a two-parent household to a one-parent household. And now I grew up in a one-parent household. My mom, she was single, and so she raised me and my brother and sister. So I've seen what it's like to, or I should say, I know what it's like to grow up in a single-parent household, but I
Right.
never wanted my children to
Right.
have to deal with that.
Right.
So over the past year and a half now, it's been interesting. It's gone from us being able to split up duties of going to, different kid events here and there.
Right.
One taking, two kids someplace, the other taking the other two someplace.
Right.
So now it's me trying to figure out what my schedule is going to be like.
Yeah.
I now do a lot more planning as far as getting my kids' schedules, like their volleyball schedules, their basketball schedules, cheerleading schedules, things like that.
Right.
I got all this stuff planned out in my calendar, and I'm looking to say, okay, I need to be able to leave work at this time so I can get here, or I need to be able to reach out to someone to see if they can take my daughter here or pick her up from there.
Right.
So it's a lot of planning, and it's a little difficult, to say the least.
Yeah,
but,
and I just want to let the listeners know, Alonzo touched on it, unfortunately, and condolences. He lost his wife in December of 2016. I was very close to his wife, knew his wife. She's, again, like a big sister to me. And it happened very suddenly. It came out of the blue. I remember just 2 weeks ahead of that, Zoe had come up to the Boston Comedy Festival just to support me. That's the type of person he is. He's like, yo, I'm going to meet you in Boston just to support you. And so it's definitely a tragedy. Zoe, I know it's been a year and a half, and you probably never get over it. And that's not the term I want to use, but how has that transition been between December 16 to now, right? And then there's grieving, but also you're a parent, so you can grieve, but you don't get to say, okay, I'm going to put parenting on hold while I grieve for 6 months. So talk about that process if you don't mind. How'd you get not through it, but yeah, how'd you go through that journey?
Well, one, I'm still going through it.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as going through the journey.
Yeah,
But I'm definitely in a much better place today
good.
than I was yesterday and the month before.
Right.
And a lot of that process had to do with praying,
Okay.
going to support groups.
Yeah, yeah.
Also leaning on good friends such
Yeah.
as yourself and family members, and just taking it day by day. And
Yeah.
you're right, parenting couldn't be put on hold. So for probably the first 3 months, my emotions and everything kind of went on the back burner.
Yeah.
It was more focused on my kids and trying to understand what they were dealing with,
Yeah.
because my mom is still alive, so I don't know what it's like to lose a mother.
Right,
And
right.
so
Yeah.
it was a lot of focus on them, getting them into support groups,
Right.
getting them set up with therapists on regular sessions just so they can try and talk it out, and just trying to do as much as I can. I also, my therapist, who I currently still see, introduced me to this book called Guiding Your Child Through Grief.
Okay.
And I started reading that book, and it was a really good book. It started helping me to understand like what different stages children go through at the ages that they are,
Yeah.
and how to try and meet them and try to understand, what they're going through.
Yeah.
So that's been the process for me. And then after about the first 3 or 4 months, then I started dealing with my own feelings. And there's a lot of nights laying up crying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nights praying. There's
Yeah.
a lot of days just feeling like I don't want to move.
Right.
but I knew that the day was going to go on with or without me. So
Yeah.
it was best for me to try and deal with it as best I can. And so I did a lot of that, and I have a great support group,
Yeah.
and God willing, I'll continue to get better, and my children will continue to get better. And it's just really about having support.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as you have a really good support group around you, it makes some of those difficult days not as difficult.
Right, right. You touched on something, and I want to. It's important to me that we highlight it because you mentioned twice about being in a support group and going to therapy, and I think, and I love your feedback on this, but I think especially in the black community and then black men almost see counseling as a weakness or as as feminine. And I think it's so important. One of the cool things about moving to California is I could almost reinvent myself. And I remember going to counseling on a regular basis, and I still see a counselor about a monthly basis. But touch on that if you don't mind. Not necessarily what you talked about in the counseling, but just the process of going to counseling, the process of being in a support group. Was it hard as a man? Was it hard, or were you able to walk in kind of open arms, like, all right, give me what you got?
Sure. So in the beginning, even when me and Sean were married,
Right.
we started doing counseling because we were having issues, and
Okay.
as all marriages, you have your ups and downs.
Every
And
single
so
marriage does. Yeah.
originally, exactly. So originally, just like you mentioned before, when we first started talking about going to counseling, I was just like, I don't need no counseling,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But over a period of time, I did decide to go. And
Okay.
once I went, I realized that we, men and women, we are set in certain ways from the way that we've grown up
Yep.
in our households and the
Yep.
things that we've seen. So they shape us a certain type of way.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not the person to say that the way we are raised and shaped is good or bad, but everybody carries baggage.
Right.
And one of the things that you learn when you go through therapy or going through group counseling or even with your spouse
Right.
is that you get to unload some of that baggage and you get to understand what someone may have been carrying for years
Right.
that
Right.
you were not aware of.
Yeah.
And then you can start unpacking it. And then once you start unpacking it, you can then start trying to figure out, how do we move forward? How
Right.
do we resolve it? And if there's not a simple resolution, what are the steps that we need to do in order to get a resolution?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is what I learned going through marriage counseling with Sean. Now, on my own, after going through counseling with her, as far as me going on my own, it's a breeze. I go in there
Is it
now,
really?
and I sit down. Oh yeah, I go in there now with my therapist, and we sit down and we laugh and we talk, and sometimes I cry.
Yeah.
And I'm more comfortable with being able to unpack what's going on with me,
Nice.
and I get good feedback from her, and I get good tools in order to work on myself.
Yeah.
Because that's the other part about therapy. You can go to therapy, but if you aren't willing to do the work after leaving the therapist,
Yeah.
then it really doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have to put in some work also.
Yeah, and you got to be willing to. I think one of the key things too is you got to be willing to be honest with the therapist, because the therapist can only work with what we give them, right? And so if we go in trying to hide things, which I get, we have shame and guilt and blah blah blah. If we go in trying to hide things, then it doesn't help because then the therapist doesn't really know what he or she is working with. So I think that's phenomenal, man, that you're doing that. I encourage you to continue. I know I'm going to continue. I know I just getting out of a relationship and being now a co-parenting father. I know I harbor some ill will and some anger, so I know I need to probably go talk to a therapist, which is part of the reason I do the podcast is just to get it out in the sphere. Hey, so how is it everything that you've gone through impact your religion, right? Because it could be easy to go the other way. It could be easy to be like, man, I'm not a fan of God. Me and God ain't cool. If I see him on the street, I'm gonna knock him out. It'd be easy to have that feeling. So how, touch on, if you don't mind, how it impacted your religion or your
Well,
spirituality.
I
Maybe
can,
not religion, your spirituality.
Well, I can say that being a Christian for, all of my adult life,
Right.
It was difficult in the sense of just trying to understand why this was happening and
Right.
why it happened.
Right. Right.
I can honestly say I wasn't mad at God,
Okay.
but I was disappointed, if
Yeah.
that's a better term to use.
Yeah.
I was disappointed with him.
Yeah.
And I felt like he took something away from not only me,
Right.
but most importantly, he took something away from my children.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
children depend so much they depend on both parents.
Right.
And but there's that special connection that children have with their mother. And
Yeah.
it starts with the mother carrying them for 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that a man can never experience with their child
Right.
at that level.
Right.
And so looking at the fact that now I have 4 children, and especially 2 younger children,
Right.
15 and 13,
Right.
who now in the prime of their teenage years have to grow up without a mother.
Yeah.
So for me, I was disappointed with God,
I get it.
but I also prayed a lot as well, because I knew that I needed to pray in order to get strength.
Yeah.
I also felt that he is the only person that can console me when a physical person can't.
Right.
And so I also felt that I get my strength from him. And so as far as my spirituality,
Yeah.
I started reading more,
Good.
which, I probably should have been doing to begin with, but
Yeah.
nonetheless,
Right.
I started reading more. I started focusing more on just different scriptures
Yeah.
and going back and just looking at different things that I've learned. And I still go to church on a regular basis.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed.
Good.
The one thing that has changed though for me in church, there was a specific section that me and Sean sat in all the time. I can no longer sit in that section. It's
Yeah.
very painful for me to sit in that section. I tried it and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so I had to figure out a way to go to church, find myself somewhere where I can sit comfortably and still be able to take in the lessons that were being taught.
Yeah.
So that's been a little difficult for me over the past year.
I can only
But
imagine.
I've been finding ways to do it,
Yeah.
and it's working its way out.
Yeah. Hey, I say at the end of my shows, almost every show, I talk to people about chasing their dreams and the importance of, my T-shirt reads, "It's never a convenient time to chase your dreams." And I remind people that life is short and you never know what's around the corner. Can you talk about how how everything you've gone through has given you a different outlook of life? Like maybe we look at stuff and we say, I'll do that, next year. I'll do that in 5 years. But going through what you go through, it sounds like you're like, no, let's do this now because we don't know what's promised. So how has it impacted your impact on life, your view on life, and maybe your view on doing some of those things you've always dreamt of doing but never did it?
Well, it's definitely given me a different focus.
Yeah.
I definitely look at life through a different pair of lenses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things Sean used to always say is life is too short. So like if we get into an argument or something, she would always say life is too short, right? And you hear it so much and you take it for granted. So you really don't think about it, right? But after her passing, I had to refocus because that's a phrase that sticks in my head now.
Yeah.
Life is too short.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that, we get mad about, that, we carry grudges against. And it's like, hey, why give all this negative energy to those things?
Right.
When you only have a short period of time on this earth.
Right.
So I have a really good person that gave a comment to me. She said, life can be short or life can be long. And we kind of talked about that a little bit. And of course, it goes along with saying, about how life can be short, but also life can be long. It can be long in the sense that you may not have the best health and you may be struggling through life. And life can just be miserable for you, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, that's a long life.
It's a long life.
You can have a long, good life.
Yeah.
You could be making the type of money you want to make, or you could just be comfortable with your situation. And it can be a comfortable life, and it could be a nice, long, comfortable life, right?
Nice.
So as far as how I look at things now, I'm a little more relaxed.
Okay.
I look at things differently as far as, hey, let's just let's do it. If we want to go somewhere, let's go.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't think about some of the tedious things that I used to think about beforehand, like, is this gonna cost too much? What are we gonna do when we don't get there?
Right,
I don't look at those things. I
right.
just say, okay, if I can afford it,
Let's
let's
do it.
go.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We'll figure it out once we get there. But you know what? We're gonna be there together. So
Yeah,
let's just have some fun while doing it.
that's
And
amazing.
so I talked to the kids about that as well.
Hmm.
And as far as me, my dreams, I've never really had any like big dreams in regards to wanting to do this or wanting to do that.
Right.
But I look at the fact that if I can keep myself healthy,
Yeah.
physically, spiritually, mentally, financially,
Right.
and I can be here for my kids.
Right.
That's one of the things that I strive to do, because I want to be able to, as they get older, I want to be able to know that they can lean on me if they need to. I also want them to know that I'm a supporter and I'm a fan of theirs, whatever it
Yeah.
is that they want to do.
I love that.
And as far as me concerned, as I like to say, my second season of life, I
Right.
want to be able to travel. I want to be able to go have some fun.
Okay.
I want to be able to see the world a little bit.
Nice.
And it's one of the things that I never thought about doing.
Right.
Me and you've talked about, going different places
Right.
and stuff like this. And at one point in time, if you recall, I used to say, I don't have a passport because I don't plan on traveling outside of the United States. Well, now I
Yeah.
have a passport.
No, do you? You got a passport? Good for you, man. Yeah.
I do have a passport.
Good for you.
So,
Good.
I have a passport, and I
Yeah.
have a couple of trips, now granted work trips, but
Right.
nonetheless. I got a trip coming up where I'm going to go out to London. I got a
Nice.
trip coming up where I'm going to go out to Beijing.
Whoa,
So,
that's dope, man.
I look at it as being able to, kind of get out. And,
Yeah.
for a while, if you would have asked me that some years ago, I'd have been like, no, I'll pass over on that trip.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, no, you know what? Life is short.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to get out and see the things and take, advantage of some of the opportunities that may come my way.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. So let me ask you, let's talk about some of the actual day-to-day part of parenting. Did you have to learn how to do hair? Or right? Or to do women hair? I'm gonna have to learn it, man. I almost want to take a class if they offer it somewhere on how to do little girl hair.
Quick story. My oldest daughter, I tried doing her hair when she was about, I don't know, let's say 9 or 10.
Okay.
That didn't go so well. Since then,
Right.
I have not touched her hair.
Okay.
Now, with my two younger daughters now, I still don't touch their hair.
Okay.
I have a good beautician that I
Nice.
go to, and they are on a rotation
Okay.
where they go get their hair done every couple of weeks, once
Okay.
a month, whatever type of style they're doing.
Right.
So I can honestly say, no, I do not do any girls' hair. But luckily for me,
Yeah.
I have an older daughter that works with her younger sister.
Nice. Nice.
So I'm saved in that department. And I have the kid's grandmother who does their hair
Okay.
when they need it.
Yeah.
So I have enough female support around me
Nice.
to be able to take care of that department for me.
So what do I need to do, Zoe? Like I got a 5-year-old. My parents live in Atlanta. I don't have any immediate family out here, and I get my daughter every other weekend, right? And like so next weekend I want to take her swimming, but I'm like, well, how do I do her hair the next day, or do I just what do I do, Zoe? What do I need to do?
Well, first of all, if there's anyone that you can reach out to, I would reach out to them first.
Yeah, I ain't got no
in
black
regards
friend, no black
to-
women friends. I'm joking, black women. Don't get mad at me. I'm joking.
Okay. Well, let's see. If we can't go there, I would say,
YouTube.
especially when it comes to definitely YouTube. But
Yeah.
one of the things about little girls' hair, especially black girls' hair,
Right.
their hair is different, and they're all different. Some have thicker hair, some
Right.
have lighter hair, some hair is more coarse.
Right.
So they have different things. One, I would, if you can, I would take her to somebody, a beautician or someone,
Yeah.
and have them to give you some pointers
Yeah.
on how to deal with her hair.
Hey, you know what I'm gonna do?
Because
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say, because there's so many different things
Yep.
that we just as men don't know about girls' hair.
Yep.
And I've found out a lot about just different products that they can use,
Yep.
different ways that they can put their hair up at night, different styles and having braids put in their hair and just things of that nature. Now, as far as taking your daughter swimming, one, get her a swimming cap
Yeah, I ain't
so
with
you
it.
don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to deal with the hair
Yep.
after that.
Yep.
Two, I would probably put some conditioner in it,
Okay.
some leave-in conditioner in it.
Okay.
After she's done, kind of comb through it a little bit, rinse it out, and then I know you don't know how to braid, so you're gonna have to figure it out from that point.
No, I'm not. But I tell you what I am gonna do. I'm serious about this. I'm gonna find a female beautician that specializes in African American hair, and what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have her on the podcast, and I'm gonna have her show me this, and we're gonna record it, and that way it can be out there for anybody that's in my position. And I'm gonna be like, yo, you got to teach me 3 simple hairstyles, like pull it back in a ponytail, and 2 others, and the products and everything. It's gonna be like a training. We're gonna do a 30-minute training. I'm gonna see if I can get my daughter on it at the time, and because I need to learn this, man. Because like I'm going to the Bahamas, and I want her to come with me, and so that means we're gonna be swimming every day for a week. And I'm like, during the day, her hair gonna be looking a mess, and people gonna be looking at me like you a horrible father. So I
Well,
gotta.
you may want to get some braids put in the hair.
Yeah.
That'll
Oh,
protect it.
100%. We definitely doing braids for the Bahamas. We definitely doing braids for the Bahamas. So, cool, man. So look real quick before we close up. So this is a tough conversation. It's a tough question. But so you mentioned earlier, okay, the second chapter of your life. Would you ever date again? Would you ever get married again? Or are you okay saying, nah, I'm good?
No, I absolutely plan on being married again.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh,
I wasn't
absolutely.
expecting that. Nah, that's
Um,
beautiful.
Well, this is the thing. So over the years, I've, there have been times where I've thought, you know what, maybe I'm better not being married.
Right,
And then I
right.
realized, you know what, those are the times where I'm angry and I'm not thinking straight.
Got you.
And
Got
I
you.
look back at the times of being married, and I look at how it is easier when it's with 2 people.
Okay.
When you can get on the same page and you can go through life as one, right?
Okay.
Now that I'm back to being single again, I look at that and I say, well, I'm getting older,
Okay.
and I see different things that I want out of life. I see different things that I want to do differently, and
Right.
that includes being with someone else. The things that I did with Sean, there's some things that I don't want to do again.
Right. Right.
And there's some things that I want to do differently.
Right.
Looking back at how I can improve as being a better husband,
Yeah.
as well. So I do feel that at some point in time, I want to be remarried again. I
Okay.
want to be able to go through life,
Right.
as I mentioned earlier, with someone. I want to be able to travel with someone and have fun. I want to be able to laugh, cry, confide in with someone.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to spend the second half of my life with a special person.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Do you have, what are your non-negotiables? Like, obviously, I'm sure you're gonna say she got to be Christian. Does she have to be black? Does she have to be white? Does she have to be Asian? Does she have to be Filipino? Does she have to have a certain age? Maybe you want, like, I don't know, 25. Maybe you want 55. Do you have any non-negotiables?
I don't really. I don't know if I really have any non-negotiables.
Okay.
I
Okay.
do know that for what I'm looking for is someone who is a woman of God.
Okay.
I'm also looking for someone, depending on if I'm looking at before Zoe and Riley, my 2 youngest ones,
Right.
finish high school, right?
Right.
I'm looking for someone who will love my children as if she gave birth to them. Now, that doesn't mean she needs to replace. I'm not looking for someone to replace their mother.
100%.
But I am looking for someone who understands that I come with kids.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know, up until a certain point.
Yeah.
And if they don't understand that this is a package deal,
Yeah.
then, that's not the person for me. But I also want someone who's smart and intelligent, someone who's loving,
Yeah.
someone who's financially sound
Yeah.
as well. And just different things. There's actually a list of things that I pray for every morning,
Okay.
and that includes the type of person that I'm looking for as well.
Nice, man. I think about it too. I didn't think, you look at your life at 25, and then you look at your life at 40, and you didn't know you'd be here, right? But one of those things that comes up when I'm dating now, if you call it dating, is I say, okay, how would this person interact with my daughter? And so I 100% get it when you said it. I don't want them to replace the mother, but I got to know that you know how to be around children and love them, in a different way, but love them nonetheless. And so I agree with you. I think that's a big deal. I'm gonna share something with you, and I think it's just kind of funny. Is our background, both being African Americans and our roots come from the South. We want a religious or somebody that loves God, right? However, there is the other side of the spectrum that's too religious. Like I was dating this girl, and I'm not gonna say her name because it's rude, but it was just too far. She was like, no, 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 I don't do yoga because yoga's the devil, and I'm like, are you 8 years old? What's wrong with like? That's just too far, man. Like if you like yoga's the devil and I don't read certain books because that book is of the devil. And she asked me for real. Everybody know I got a joke. I say my mom asked me if I sold my soul to the devil. She was like, "Are you serious? Did that really happen?" I'm like, "Bitch, it's a joke." A, and I'm sorry for cursing, but B, don't be that like you understand what I'm saying? Like I want somebody that loves God, but I don't want somebody that believes that Jonas actually spent 3 days in a whale's stomach. I want somebody that's a little bit smart enough to be able to separate the two. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it
So
does, and I understand what you're saying. Like I don't need for her to be a holy roller, as
right,
some people would say, and I don't need for her to be like, well, we can't leave the house on Sunday because that's the Sabbath, and and we can't do no grocery shopping, or you
right,
can't watch no football. No, I don't
right,
need that.
right.
Uh,
We can't eat
but I
shellfish.
do right. I do need someone that understands that there is a God, and I
Yeah,
need for someone to understand that we are on this earth for a purpose,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there are
yeah,
just some things that while it can't be explained, we have to have faith that there's a higher person than who we see around us. We
yeah,
need to be able to know that there's something more than just the physical attribute that helps to guide us.
yeah, man. That's that. So what you said is amazing and it's accurate, and is why I look up to you as a great father and as a big brother.
So
So
I definitely appreciate it.
I got one more question because what you said wraps this up perfectly with a bow. You mentioned purpose, and so my comment to you was of everything that you've gone through, and it's okay if you don't have the answer, but with everything that you've gone through, has it helped to shape your purpose? And do you know your purpose, and are you willing to share it with our listeners?
Well, it has definitely helped to get me through what to where I am now.
Yeah,
When I look back at my life, there are a lot of things that I've gone through.
yeah,
I've gone through growing up in a single parent household.
yeah,
I've gone through moving around
yeah.
almost like every summer,
Right,
only having a small set of friends in one place.
right.
I've gone through deaths, friends, close personal friends,
Mm,
and family members as well. And so when I look at all the different things that I've been through,
yeah.
I think that a lot of those things has prepared me for what I've been going through
Okay.
this point in time.
Yeah.
As far as my purpose in life is I just look to be a better father,
Okay.
manager, friend, person in general.
Yeah.
I look to be able to help to guide my kids to do things better than I did growing up, and to hopefully have them in a better position
Yeah.
as they grow up than I
Nice.
was.
Nice.
So that's really my purpose.
Nice.
I don't have any purpose of like pinky in the brain if I'm telling my age, trying to take over the world every night.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
But
think I think the purpose of
a
being
lot of things
a
I
strong
get out of.
father.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no, I'm
Oh,
just
no, I
saying.
was
I
just gonna
think.
say,
Yeah. Go ahead. Go.
oh no,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say a lot of things that makes me happy
Yeah.
is watching people around me do better.
Nice.
Like you mentioned, me and you.
Yeah.
Me and you have known each other for years, and I've always told you, if you need something, if I got it, it's yours.
Yeah.
And I've always told you how proud I am for you.
Yeah.
I get happy when I see you doing different things. And when I heard the podcast,
Yeah.
I reached right out to you. And it's just things like that. And other people around me, when I see them doing good,
Yeah.
it makes me happy. And I may not, or I may have had something to do with it. But
Right.
regardless, just to know that there's someone in my circle that I can say, you know what, that Trenton is a good guy. I remember when he started out,
Yeah.
and look where he is now. Or I could say, hey, you know what, this guy's been through a lot, but you know what, he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I like to be able to see, and just sit back and talk about
Yeah.
with different people and understand that, we all have a story to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's perfect, man. I appreciate so much everything you said. I say often when I'm talking about purpose and passion, I say my passion is comedy, and my passion is God's gift to me. God gave me the gift of comedy. I said, but my purpose is to use that comedy to hopefully impact the world, to encourage people to chase their dreams, and to be a better father and a better husband and a better brother and blah blah and friend. And so I think everything that you said is just spot on. Again, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time. I'm gonna have you back probably a year from now. I'm gonna have you back and see where you're at, see if you're dating yet. And I want to meet this princess that you meet, or queen rather. By all means, give my love to everybody in the family. Give them big hugs. Hopefully, I'll be in Chicago in the summer because I'm not coming before April. And just I love you to death, man. Thank you so much, man. Thanks, though. I appreciate you.
Oh no, thank you, man. And you like I said, you like a little brother to me, and
Yep.
the love is mutual.
All right, man. You have a good Saturday, man, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, thank you, Trenton. You
All
too.
right, appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Hey guys, it's the Father's Day podcast. Thank you so much for sitting in with me. That one was a little bit less comical. One of my best friends, and obviously we went through a lot over the last 2 years. Just one of the best dudes in the world. So I appreciate you listening in. Make sure you do this. Make sure you follow Comedy Pop Up on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Make sure you follow me at Trenton Comedy and all the other comics on the Comedy Pop Up Network. If you want to see me live, I'm in Seattle Thursday, January 25th, and Friday, January 26th at the Seattle Comedy Underground, headlining that. Also, Friday, February 2nd, I'm doing Unnecessary Evil at the West Side Comedy Theater. So thanks so much for listening in. Next week, I think I got a cool podcast. I think we're going to talk about, we're going to have a single mother and a stay-at-home mother. We're going to interview them, and I think it'll be cool to see the dynamics. But anyway, thanks so much. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that. Love you. Have a good afternoon. Holla.